Entertainment is learning a very hard lesson, one that you probably knew ever since you were about 3 years old. And that is, well, it turns out that boys who are attractive and girls who are attractive, they're popular. And they're really popular in media, in movies, and guess what? In games. But are video game companies actually learning that? Today, we're talking about Tifa. Hello folks, we hope this is not your final chance to come to this channel, but we do hope that you're ready for a Final Fantasy discussion. And that's because we are talking today about the situation in which, yes, they're covering up cleavage yet again. And is that a good or bad thing? Well, we're not entirely sure, but we're here to bring you the analysis you so desire and to explain why we are all getting very tired of the way the video game industry is acquiescing to whoever this is who says that women should not be feminine and men should not be masculine. It's strange, it's bizarre, and in terms of going beyond the philosophy to the marketplace, well, it is a marketplace fiasco, the kind of disastro that sends people home and does not keep them employed. All right, panel, it's time. Let's get started. Speaking to this same issue, then let's go to the news that was breaking, because I think this speaks to why this might not be the last time we have a reduction in force for these studios, because they clearly don't understand their market. They don't understand their audience. Either that or they're so puritanical and ideological that they can't break away. Yesterday on the Valiant Renegade show, or 2 days ago on the Valiant Renegade show, we were talking about how excited folks were because Tifa, a character inside Final Fantasy VII, the remake, was being allowed to look feminine. Now, just let that settle in your minds for a minute, folks, that Tifa was allowed to look feminine. Okay, that's where we are as a society. Well, that's been fixed, because in the last 24 hours, this update came out from IGN and others. Final Fantasy VII Remake surprise patch includes Tifa outfit change ahead of Rebirth release, breaks major mod. And we're not going to read the article, folks. You can go read it if you want to. But basically, somebody got scared. Somebody got squared and scared and said, we're going to put more clothes on her. And, you know, I don't care about the clothing issue. I care about the fact that apparently being feminine is no longer allowed. And so they acquiesce to the mob yet again, but not to their audience. And I think this is bizarre that game companies, even as they are being laid off, even as they are going down, even as they don't have a job any longer, they will not budge. They are such fervent believers in this that they will do everything in their power to ensure that they acquiesce to the online invisible mob, which who knows how much of it's botting, we don't know. They'll do that rather than acquiesce to the audience. And the audience is who employs them. So it's no wonder that they're going home and they can play with their own things at home because they're not going to play with favorite franchises. But this is just another example of why you can expect more reductions in force.
Yeah, so basically they added that black shirt that you see there on the screen in this like stealth patch to Final Fantasy VII. So
a dickie, as they used to call those things.
Can't have cleavage. Cleavage not allowed. That's just too far, apparently, in today's times. So I don't know. Am I making much to do about nothing, or is this silliness that they had to rush and put in a surprise patch to put a dickie on Tifa, as Lou was mentioning? By the way, folks, if you've ever wondered what's the funniest reference to a dickie in entertainment, it's without a doubt Cousin Eddie wearing the dickie under a white T-shirt at the pool. It's fabulous. Anyway, go ahead. So, Culture, am I making much to do about nothing, or is this part of the broader effort to give the audience not what they want?
Oh, this is a part of the broader effort. Again, who largely was probably leading this charge? I mean, we can point at the few usual suspects now, and we'll probably be right. The fact that they are willing to be bullied by this really tiny fractional minority is the thing that blows my mind. You know, well, you know, games should
the
be
proud,
for
the unendowed.
Whatever, but games should be for everyone. Well, except that everyone doesn't buy games. This is the bigger conundrum for folks that do business. If you make a game, you're going to have fans. If you make a game, people are going to buy it. You don't have to kowtow to this tiny little sliver of humanity that is outraged by everything because it doesn't meet the scale of autism that their preferences along, or the scale of mental illness would be a better choice than autism. But you understand my point.
You think about this culture. There was a time in Hollywood where we said, you know what? Attractive men and attractive women make for a better subject of visual display for audiences.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't know that it still wouldn't have flopped. But if Sydney Sweeney had worn what she wore to the premiere in the movie instead of what she wore in Madam Web, it would have sold more tickets.
Okay, that's a great question, Luke. That's a great question, and it's not sexist in the least. And I'm going to tell you why. Why do they wear? Okay, why do they say we have to cover up in the film? Okay, as a philosophical stance, why do they say we're going to cover up in the film, but then we're going to leave absolutely nothing to imagination when we go to watch the film, the same said film? It makes no sense from a moral standpoint unless you say, well, they're trying to get into China. That's the only thing I can come up with.
No, Elizabeth Olsen was the hugest hypocrite with this. She'd be wearing like the most scantily clad things on the red carpet, and then she was like, "Oh, I don't like the outfit that they had me in with like Scarlet Witch." Like, what are you even talking about?
When the genre guys did the wonderful movie State and Maine by David Mamet, there's a moment in there.
Such a great Mamet
but there's we did a great show on it, and there's a moment in there when the actress is complaining that she doesn't want to do the topless scene she contracted for without an extra $800,000, and the director says to somebody else, "I don't know why she's worried. Half of America can draw her from memory." So it's like where they draw the line and where they don't, and where they decide to and where they don't. Madness.
I tell you.
Yeah, the biggest, like I said, the biggest thing is we just saw Madam Web do what it did. It took a lot of very attractive women in their 20s and portray them as, not that.
Frumps is the word you're looking for.
And I understand they were trying to make them high school kids. Well, it's easy to fix that. Write the script so that they're young college women, and you solve that problem.
That's an artificial problem. Yep.
Yeah. And then at the same time, you put them on the red carpet. What are they wearing? They're wearing see-through clothing with, what they call nude undergarments, right? Which are just the tan skin-colored undergarments.
Right. It's made to make you think it's their skin color. Yeah.
Exactly. To hide their bits. But it's like on the red carpet, you're using their sex appeal to sell this film. Just like Scarlett Johansson, as John was saying, right? And you're using that appeal there, but you didn't use it in the film where it would have helped your film. Then, not to mention the fact that, again, there's a lot of artificial problems that come with these projects, and Madam Web, that's just one of many that it suffered. So, I look, doing it in a video game, I mean, the characters look like the characters. Lara Croft got advanced over time, and she advanced. Now they're regressing.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like there's no more advancement happening with Lara Croft.
Polygons are gone.
Yeah,
but not forgotten.
Yeah, like I said.
Changer of Ways, Beep Bop Boop for $2. Politics loop back on itself with lib puritanism. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
how it shifted to the other side, being the more puritanical here. Even as a member of the Midwest Christian homeschool crowd here, I kind of have to chuckle at watching people with no moral standards try to figure out how to be Puritans.
I had a fun time I was actually at a restaurant yesterday evening, and I overheard someone talking politics, and I really almost chuckled out loud because I heard someone say to the other person across the table, "So wait a minute, you mean liberals aren't part of the Democrats anymore?" And I had to chuckle because they're in their conversation they were trying to figure out what is the difference in Democrats and Republicans, and they were wrapping their head around the idea that classical liberals have shifted to a different party. And I was like, that is really something trying to explain that nowadays.
Well,
it really is
I remember going to a very early Star Trek con, actually at the Hilton across from Disneyland, because a friend of mine was in town and staying there, and she wanted to go. And I came out of there saying, there are lots of people who simply should not wear spandex, but do it anyway. And I think the natural reaction to that now is, well, if we can't wear it, nobody can, and therefore let's get rid of all the sexy costumes.
And
it's
on that same line of spandex.
A lot of it's out of jealousy and envy, for sure.
Yes, exactly. Envy.
Speaking of spandex, if you want to improve your self-esteem, go to a Disney water park for a day.
Just look at a lot of these. Look at all these articles that they publish now about like how I don't know. There's all these like health articles, and it's just like, well, no, that's absolutely stupid. Like, are you kidding me? And they're like, study says. It's like,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
that's
Well, I saw a story the other day. Somebody in a college in Albuquerque is offering a class called Fat Studies about how it's all just prejudice to say that it's unhealthy to be overweight. And by the way, one of the features of the class said final grade will not depend on attendance or classwork.
Well, that sounds great.
And the guy writing the article says, gosh, I wish they'd had that when I was in school when I had a hangover and didn't want to go to class.
jeez.
I'm trying to think what we'll be calling lethargic studies 101 one day, because I think that's where we're headed. We're all going to just fawn over the idea of doing nothing.
Yep. The kind of stupid that only comes from a college education.
And it is over for today, folks, but don't worry, because more content is on the way each and every day, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Pro Channel, continuing to explain entertainment and keep you ahead of the culture curve. It is the passion, it is the joy that you have given to us. Folks, like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. And if you want really spicy content we can't cover anywhere else, consider going over to the Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/WDWPro for much, much more. All right, folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.